Um, I'm honestly not sure where to start this one. Firstly, because this is the first review that I'm doing. Secondly, because I think I picked maybe like the worst album that I could have possibly picked to do the first review on. Not because it's bad, because it's just one of those ones that's really hard to talk about. So I have no idea where to start talking about it. The album is called Trout Replica. It's by some guy named Captain Beefheart and his quote-unquote magic band. It was released in 1969 and it's an experimental psychedelic rock album. Supposedly, I don't think there's like a real label you can put to this one. It's just one of those sorts of albums. Because it's just so strange. Captain Beefheart's real name is Don Van Ville, and he's pretty well known for making this kind of music, or he was. He was doing music from about the mid-60s to the early 80s when he quit to focus on his painting career. I've never seen any of his paintings, but knowing the kind of music he made, they're probably just as strange, to be honest. And he unfortunately died in 2010. Trout Replica is supposedly the best album by Captain Beefheart. It was produced by Frank Zappa, who was a good friend of Captain Beefheart, supposedly, which you can definitely hear a little bit of in his music. It's one of those albums where critics love it, but with more casual listeners, it can be very divisive. With, half of people saying it's a masterpiece, and the other half saying it's unlistenable garbage, like what people over 40 think Playboy Cardi is. So the main aspect of the album is its polyrhythmic style. Most music, so 99.999% of all music ever made, has rhythm. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And usually, everything being played, so the drums, the guitar, the bass, the piano, the singer, whatever, is going along to that 1, 2, 3, 4 rhythm. Polyrhythm is when the rhythm is either like slowly changing over time, I think, or if the different instruments are playing at different rhythms, which is kind of the main aspect of this album and mainly what makes it such a challenging first listen, I think. Because when you listen to it, it's the most noticeable thing that every instrument is just completely out of sync with all the other ones. But that's also kind of what makes it amazing. Personally, I found that after about 20 minutes, give or take, listening to it, you don't really notice the polyrhythms. But that does sound like a lot, but it's an 80-minute album. So it's really only a quarter of the way through. It has 30 songs. A lot of them are very short at 2.5 to 3 minutes or something. Some of them can be 5 or 6 minutes, but they're the exception rather than the rule. Captain Beefheart's singing is just as completely weird as the instruments accompanying it. And the same goes for the lyrics. They're just all... I don't even know where to begin, to be honest. Weirdly enough, it kind of reminded me of Mr. Bungle's self-titled album. Both in you can kind of hear sonically they're very similar, just Mr. Bungle doesn't have the polyrhythms, but they're also focused on being just as goofy as possible almost, while also being really good. Some of the best songs, I think, are Ella Guru, it's just really funny to listen to, which is exactly what you want from this album, especially that bit where he's like, hi Ella Guru. It's see, I'm stuttering and I'm speechless because I really don't know what to say, because it's so hard to say anything about this album. Frownland, the opener, is another one of the best songs, I think. It works really well as an opener, I think, because it's just as weird as most of the other songs, but it's also one of the most normal, sonically, I feel. So you can kind of feel like, I've heard stuff like this before, but at the same time, I have no idea what I'm listening to. Another great one is Moonlight on Vermont. Nothing really crazy about it, it's just very good. The singing is very good, I like it a lot. The last song on the album, Veterans Day Poppy, is probably one of the best as well. It's just like, again, I don't know what to say about these songs because I can't find the words to describe them because they're just so strange. I think the worst songs, there's not really, it's one of those albums where like there's no, it's hard to pick out songs that are worse than the others. Because one, like I said, nearly 30 songs over 80 minutes, lots of stuff to go through. And secondly, it's just like, they're all very good, you know? And they all fit really well with each other, and it's just really hard. But if I had to pick the worst songs, gun to my head, I'm gonna say the instrumentals. So that's Hair Pie, Bake 1 and 2, and Dolly's Car. I think it's the only 3 ones. Like, nothing wrong with them. All great songs, just they miss the complete goofiness and wackiness of Captain Beefheart singing. It's not as good. Although, I do like the bit on Hair Pie Bake 1 where he's out like recording the bush sounds or something, and the kids come up to him and ask him what he's doing, and he tells them about his Trout Mask album, and it's just, they're so creeped out. I thought that was very funny. I don't know if it was meant to be funny. I don't know if it was real or if it was a skit. I hope it was real. It seems like it was real. But with this album, you don't know. You just don't know. But for the album cover, it's just a picture of Captain Beefheart wearing a just some sort of top hat and his Trout Mask replica, I assume. Or maybe he's holding it in front of his face. It's kind of hard to tell, actually. So basically, the album cover is exactly what it says on the title of the album. But honestly, knowing Captain Beefheart, everything I said there could just be like completely wrong. It could actually be a picture of like his granddad holding a live carp in front of his face or something. Like, I don't know. You know, it's just so strange. It's just so strange, but that is why I love it. And that's why I think it's a masterpiece. Well, I say I think it's a masterpiece. I actually can't tell if it's a masterpiece or if after like 20 minutes or so, Stockholm Syndrome kicks in and I just fall in love with the album. So yeah, overall, I'm gonna give it 9.5 Trout Masks out of 10. Very good. Worth a listen if you're into this kind of thing. Sorry, if you're brave enough for this kind of thing, I kind of feel like I have to say. Because it is just, it's so strange, but if you get it, you're gonna love it. So yeah, Captain Beefheart, Trout Mask replica. Stealing Death Grips' style 40 years before they did. Not cool, sir. Not cool at all. Alright, bye.